Well, good morning, everyone. How are you? Once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. And guess what? It's question and answer Friday today. Always fun time. Got lots of questions. And Brahim, how is ya? Good to have you on with us this morning. Brahim's number one on the hit parade. Mike from Norland. Numero 2, Rosalinda, Niagara Falls. Good to have you guys on from the kidneys of Canada. Margaret and Mary and Kathy from Simcoe and Nick from our staff and Donna, Newfoundland, Sheila, Sudbury, Dorita, Manitoba, Faye, Terrace, British Columbia, Laurie Lee, Ventura, California, Bill, good morning, Rita, and Annette, bon vendredi à toi aussi, Fran, Orangeville, Georgie, Halifax, and Wendy from Markham, good morning, Jeanette from our staff, and Jeanette from Kapuskasing. Katie, Tarana, Len and Judy from Edmonton, Alberta, Catherine, Springdale, Newfoundland, Clinton, good morning, Deneen from Windsor, Donna, good morning, and Carol from Moncton, New Brunswick, David, Ridgeway, Laurie, Niagara Falls, Sandra, good morning, Bobby, Kitchener, and Olive, good morning from Timmins. Francis, good morning from Vaughan. Kevin, I don't know why I missed you, Kev. I really don't. Sue, Barbara, oh, how are you, Barbara? John, Elgin, Illinois. Linda, Pennsylvania. And Irene, good morning. And Diane, Thunder Bay. Bonnie, nice to have you on. Maria, a couple more and then we'll get going. We got lots of questions. So, Nativity, did I miss you, Nativity? Rhonda, Amsburg, Arlene, Portugal Cove, Kathy, saying they have a typhoon. Ginny, Virginia. Okay, Jean from Peterborough, Heather, Miramichi, and Roma, good morning to you. Okay, Dr. Martin from Sill. Can you address narcolepsy? Well, I've seen it, okay, and usually there are 4 major symptoms of narcolepsy, and that is someone that just, boom, falls asleep without any warning, and usually have sleep disruptions at night. And what other symptoms are there of narcolepsy? Anyways, here's what I did whenever I saw that in my office, okay? Because I was one still to look for deficiencies, okay? And when I saw narcolepsy, here's a couple of things that I found they were deficient in. 1, vitamin D. Okay, just generally, vitamin D. 2, B12, usually low. And 3, they usually had leaky gut-brain connection. And usually they were secreting too much cortisol. And I would address those deficiencies or those findings, those biomarkers. So, and then, like I usually used to, my protocol would be usually, depending on what I saw, high DHA, I would use B12, vitamin D. I'm trying to think now. I had them do the reset. So those are things still I used to do with pretty good results. Pretty good results. And again, I was looking at it a little differently than physicians, because I was looking for deficiency. Donna, what are my thoughts on air fryers? Well, hey, whatever turns your crank. Like, it's like a fast oven, right? I mean, extremely fast. I got no problem with it, as long as you don't cook, destroy all the enzymes in food and this and that. Hey, I'm eggs, meat, and cheese. Any way you want to slice it, any way you want to get it. I'm not big on microwaves. That's different. But yeah, like if you like your air fryer, I got no problem with that. Okay? I've seen people put their bacon in air fryers. Yeah. Okay. Sarah's talking about sleep too. What are some of the causes of sleep cycle repeats throughout the night, beginning to drift off and then waking? Well, look, you're not usually, Sarah, that means you're not getting into your 5 cycles of sleep. And whether you're getting your REM sleep or not, I look at anyone that has any kind of sleep disruption, which is 70% of the population. Usually I start by getting their cortisol down, because their circadian rhythm is messed up. And, I like cortisol. I like our cortisol formula. It was made for that. And so lower the stress during the day with cortisol. And I like cortisol as a sleep aid. And I find you get into a much more recuperative sleep. But again, I look at everything broad spectrum. I look at everything. I look at all the, usually I get their insulin down, because that can be a factor. I get their cortisol down. I see if there's any deficiencies. Oftentimes when they're not sleeping properly, you're low in magnesium. You could be low in B12. You could be low in sunshine, right? Viderma. You need vitamin D. You need the sun. And, okay. Now, Julie, I don't know if I understand this question, okay? Can you talk about plateaus? And I think, Julie, okay, I think you're asking about when people hit a certain level and they don't go past that. Is that what the question is, okay? Because I can't think of anything like a plateau being a disorder, okay? Hey, I might learn something today. But if you're looking at why people hit plateaus, it happens, right? It happens. There's plateaus, you do the reset and you hit a certain weight, for example, and your body plateaus out. You find it difficult to get past that. Here's what I would say generally, if that's the question, Julie, okay, is don't give up. Always look at the big picture. Look at the big picture. If you are eating right, if you're doing the right things, stick to it. Because a lot of people get discouraged, and I get that every day, because people are sending me their blood work and then they have some comments on it or whatever, like Dr. Martin, why is my A1C not going down? Why is, my triglycerides or my HDL, why isn't that, I've been so disciplined. Well, you plateaued out, but that should never allow you to stop. It shouldn't discourage you. Like, first of all, don't live on numbers. I like numbers, but I'm not married to them. Do you know what I mean? like stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. Whether it's weight loss, whether it's blood work or whatever, stick to the plan. Okay? So, discouragement comes. I get it. It's a journey. You're going to have a health change is a journey. You're going to have ups and downs. Okay? It's not always going to be smooth sailing. But at the end of the day, just keep focused. And, don't get discouraged to the point that you give up. Okay? So, Julie, thanks for the question. Andrea, why does a storm make me feel awesome? Well, I never feel awesome in a storm. You can feel awesome when it ends. Okay. No, I mean, there is, there is some, the sound and smell of summer rain. Is it good? Sure, it's good. And you feel better. I like sleeping through a storm. I like hearing rain outside when I'm sleeping. I like it. Okay? I don't know if it's the sound. Yeah, it's the sound. And then there is, Andrea, ozone, right? That's released after a storm. Yeah, probably affecting you in a good way. Good for you. Marianne. She's extremely fatigued. I check my iron and see my levels are only halfway to the upper range. And then I thought I read that Candida feeds off iron. No, Candida feeds off sugar, Marianne. Candida is Candida yeast fungus feeds off sugar, not iron. Okay, so steak will give you iron, so make sure you are, and the right iron, and that's heme iron. And you might try going on a liquid iron. I like that as a supplement if you need it, Marianne. But no, like Candida don't feed off of iron. I don't know. You might have read that somewhere. But Candida feeds off sugar. It's as simple as I get off the sugar, then no sugar. And Candida can't live if you don't feed it. And make sure you're taking, Marianne, your probiotics. Linda, if I have floating oil in my urine, could be because your gallbladder is gummed up. That's a possibility. Is it because I'm eating too much fat? No. It's not because you're eating too much fat. You might not be eating enough fat. And when I look at urine, it's like, I remember this is years ago. People said, analyze your stool. Like, why? I mean, other than blood in it. Urine, I used to love checking your urine, okay? And if you got foamy, bubbly urine, it's because you're usually dehydrated. And but it's not because you're eating too much fat. Fat don't turn into fat. It turns into a good oil, but your kidneys love that oil. So they're not going to be secreting it. And it just lubricates. But those are healthy fats. Make sure you're getting healthy fats. And you might have some gallbladder issue where your gallbladder is gummed up and it's not emulsifying the fat properly. But generally, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Linda, okay? Kate, is it better to take CoQ10 or ubiquinol? Well, that's a good question, Kate, but ubiquinol is CoQ10. Okay? Ubiquinol, there's two types of CoQ10. There's ubiquinone and ubiquinol. O-L or O-N-E. Okay? never take ubiquinone because you're just wasting your money. You're not. If you take CoQ10 as a supplement, and the reason I love CoQ10, well, there's a lot of reasons, but I like CoQ10. I gave it for years. I recommended it. I had it in my Navitol with ubiquinol, and now I have it separate. But it's ubiquinol. That's the one your body absorbs. And CoQ10 is good for your heart. It's good for your brain. It's good for those mitochondria. And they help to really help your mitochondria and build mitochondria. Okay? And so people that have any kind of heart condition, I give them ubiquinol. That's CoQ10. Okay? So CoQ10 comes in two forms. Ubiquinone, stay away from that as a supplement. Okay? You want ubiquinol because that's the one your body absorbs. Okay? And, if you have atrial fib, you have congestive heart failure, you have that, I highly recommend. If you are on a statin drug, they'll even advertise that. In the United States, they advertise it on TV. You need ubiquinol or CoQ10 when you're on a statin drug because statin drugs, cholesterol-lowering medication, destroy CoQ10. Okay? That's its big side effect. Phytoplankton. Do I like it? Yeah. It's a form of omega-3. And I got no problem with it. I find it to be way too expensive for what it delivers. I personally like our high DHA oil. It's the best on the market that I've ever seen, and that's why I have it. Okay? But I like phytoplankton. I got no problem with that. Francis, if you have constantly high cortisol due to anxiety, is doing the 16 or 18-hour intermittent fasting too long, causing the body more stress? No, not usually, Francis. It's a good question. Look, everybody, put your finger up, okay? I got my thumb up here. Okay, why do I do that? Well, because everybody on the planet, we're over 8 billion now. Okay? I think it happened in April or whatever. We hit 8 billion people. Okay? 2023. Everyone on the planet. You stick your thumb up. Your fingerprint is different than all other 8 billion people and change. Okay? You're unique. What does that mean? Well, you might find, Francis, and this is maybe, I don't know, you might find that if you go fasting too long, for you, that might stress you out. Okay? But generally, 16, 18-hour fasting, I got no problem with it. I haven't found that it increases cortisol. But for you, it might. And you got to figure that out. Okay? So just always understand there's exceptions. Okay? I talk in generalities. I have to. When I answer questions, I got to answer in generalities. Because if someone's not my patient, or used to be my patient or whatever, then I could talk more in individual cases because I could measure cortisol or whatever. But now I'm just telling you that generally, no. Intermittent fasting will not increase your cortisol. If you went a couple of days, it might. And hematoma, young person, drains but fills up again. Well, look, hematoma, anything that you see on the skin, I always start inside out, and I start with the gut. I look for that first. I fix leaky gut, because that could be an issue. And, start from the inside out, okay, with the hematoma. And try oil of oregano, right on the skin, right on the area. I like that. It's an antioxidant, it's powerful, antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, you name it, anti, okay? And I like our Rivera gel too on the skin, hematomas. Dr. Martin, Willie, can you comment on glucosamine? I like it. Supposed to heal the gut and turn skin problems? Nah, no. I like glucosamine for joints, inflammation. I never liked it alone as a supplement. It was a kid on the block. I mean, one of the top, now we're talking 25 years ago, whatever, glucosamine, everybody and their dog was talking about it, that it cured everything from coughs and colds and your joints, and glucosamine, yeah. It got a lot of hype, and then it settled down, okay? But I like glucosamine. I have it in my inflammation formula, and hopefully that's coming back very soon, okay? Ooh, okay. Lise, how are you? A vascular doctor told me I have venous legs, okay? And ugly bumps on my skin, oil of oregano. Yeah, I put oil of oregano, but I like working inside out with venous problems, circulation, spider veins and things. Look, I mean, there's no cure specifically, but I found good relief because you elevate nitric oxide. I like Navitol for circulation, and I found that to be one of the best things that you can do for your circulation and for vascular disease, Lise, okay? Dr. Martin, Mila, what do I think about streptococcus B? Well, can be a big issue, streptococcus A or B, and no fun under the sun. But again, okay, I'm just going to talk again, Mila, in generalities, okay? You have streptococcus A, B. I'm an immune system guy. We're going to be surrounded by superbugs. Streptococcus B can be very serious and can lead to sepsis. And I'm a guy that talks about your immune system. Get your immune system firing on all cylinders. One, lay off the sugar, because sugar will stop your white blood cells from working properly. Okay? Sugar, lay off, down. Up, sun, steak, and steel for your immune system. Okay? Vitamin D. You have low levels of vitamin D, you are a human solar panel, and especially your white blood cells. They have extra solar panels looking for sun. Vitamin D, immune system. Steak, immune system. Why? Vitamin A in it, zinc in it. Okay? So vitamin A is essential for your immune system to fight streptococcus. And the other one, really important, is your gut. Leaky gut. Toxins get in your bloodstream. Protect your gut. Protect your microbiome. Don't eat sugar. Eat steak. and eggs, meat, and cheese. Get your vitamins, get your minerals, and probiotics. Really important. Okay, thanks for the question. Marilyn, so many people have plantar fasciitis. Yeah, they do. And I'm wondering if it is related to fructose uric acid. Yep, it is. And big thing, it's a sign that you have insulin resistance. Plantar fasciitis, insulin. Insulin creates glycation, sugar. Lay off. It really makes a difference in plantar fasciitis. Lay off. Get that inflammation down by cutting your carbohydrates down. I always got people on lubrication. And I love oils. Okay? Olive oil, coconut oil, butter, oil, lubricate, high DHA. Okay? I love that stuff. Yep, insulin is a big factor, Marilyn. That's why we see so much of it today. It's one of the big factors in plantar fasciitis. What's that got to do with your feet? Because people have asked me. It's amazing. I think we got to do another session again on insulin resistance and where it, like some of the surprising symptoms of insulin resistance. Surprising. From your skin to your joints to your hair to you name it. Okay. Thank you very much. Katie, is there a way to shrink an enlarged prostate? Yep. Insulin. Remember what your growth hormones are. Okay? Kathy, remember what growth hormones are. What makes things grow? Insulin, estrogen. When a man's got problem with his prostate, okay, he's got too much estrogen and not enough testosterone. If your testosterone in a man goes down, it's because his estrogen has gone up. A lot of men have more estrogen than their wives. As women hit menopause, their estrogen comes down. Don't take it though. Don't take estrogen, ladies. Don't take estrogen, ladies. Don't take estrogen, ladies. And men, don't take estrogen too, because that's a problem. Get that estrogen down. And connected, get that insulin down. Insulin is a growth hormone. It'll make your prostate in men grow. Why do they? Look at women. The combination of estrogen and too much insulin, what do you get? PCOS, polycystic ovarian disorder. And insulin is a big factor, so is estrogen. Cut those two down. Get estrogen down, get insulin down. Okay? Those are the two. And then cortisol pours gasoline on inflammation. So get that stress down. Okay? Cortisol. There you go. Thanks, Kathy. Oh, Kathy. And now Kathy with a C. Okay, now, Kathy, I'm going to get this question on a weekly basis, and I'm just going to tell you where I come from, and I appreciate the question. What is the difference, Dr. Martin, between lipoprotein A and lipoprotein B, and which of the two to be the most concerned about if flagged high? Double the normal range. Neither one of them. Okay? Lipoprotein A or lipoprotein B, I don't look at that. I don't care about that. I really don't. You know, if you Google lipoprotein A or lipoprotein B, and they are biomarkers for heart disease, I don't believe it. Okay? And because if you look at it and then go, okay, how do I lower my lipoprotein A and lipoprotein B? They're going to tell you, lay off the eggs, lay off red meat, eat more grains, eat more fiber, and whatever, okay? The whole premise on lipids, okay? The whole premise, Kathy, on lipids is wrong, in my opinion, okay? And then they tell you what to eat. And they tell you don't have any coconut oil or butter or whatever. I mean, that, in my mind, is craziness, okay? Because they don't understand nutrition, first of all, and they're trying to get people to lower their lipids, okay? Because that, and I'll tell you where it comes from. Okay? It comes from the pharmaceutical industry. It really does. And look, I get it. I understand there are a lot of physicians that don't agree with what I'm saying right now. I know that. But I'm going to double down on what I'm saying, Kathy, with a C. Okay? Here's what you need to do. Get your triglycerides down. And you get your triglycerides down by actually upping your cholesterol. Okay? You up your cholesterol. And cholesterol is found in animal foods and only in animal food. Your body makes cholesterol, by the way, because you can't live without it. Your brain's made up of cholesterol, your cells are made up of cholesterol, and lipoprotein A and B. I don't care if they're high. Okay? I want you to have high cholesterol. Because that's not the bad guy. I want you to have more firemen. I want you to have more police. Okay? They help you. Now, I am big on you. It's not to let you don't look at blood work, but I'm going to tell you what you look at. Okay? Just to remind you for heart. What do you look at? 1. Okay? Triglycerides. You want them to be what? Low. How do you get low triglycerides? Lay off the sugar. Lay off the crappy carbohydrates. High HDL. Okay? High LDL. So when they got away from LDL, they had to come up with something else. Lipoprotein A and lipoprotein B. I don't buy it. I can't buy it, Kathy. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. It's not a marker that I look at. I want to know what your triglycerides are. I want to know what your HDL is. I want you to have high LDL. Okay? I want you to have high cholesterol. You'll live longer. And then I look for markers of inflammation. That's a big marker for heart. CRP, C-reactive protein. It's made in your liver. And when you have silent inflammation, well, it doesn't always have to be silent, but if you have inflammation that damages your blood vessels, that I am very, 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 very interested in. And the big connection, too, is vitamin D, because vitamin D is an anti-inflammatory. The sun. So I would look at your markers of your triglycerides, your HDL. I want to see that ratio. I want your HDL to be higher than your triglycerides. And I want to see your vitamin D, if you can get it for me. If your vitamin D is low, you're in deep doo-doo with your heart. If your CRP is high, you're in deep doo-doo for your heart. Okay? So, that's what I look at. Kathy with a C. Okay? And look, again, you can talk to 9 out of 10 doctors and they would disagree with me. Okay? But I know that's confusing, but I'm right. Okay. Someone asked me that on the radio. How do you know if you're right, Dr. Martin? I said it's because it's my radio show. And I'm right. Grace. Acidic keratosis. Anything you see on the skin. How can it be cured? Grace. Start inside out. Do the gut. Brenda, can grapefruit really bring down blood pressure? No. The grapefruit diet, I mean, I've heard it all, okay? I like grapefruit, okay? Eat it, don't drink it, okay? I like grapefruit. Lower your blood pressure? Nah. No. You lower your blood pressure, you get your carbohydrates down and get that stress off the kidneys. Okay. Peggy, topical retinol A gel, harmful for osteoporosis or thyroid? No, I can't see that. I like retinol, vitamin A. Eat it. Eat steak. Eat eggs. You get vitamin A. Okay? Eat fish. Osteoporosis or thyroid? No, I can't see it. I don't see the connection, Peggy. Maybe you can show me something where you've read. I've never even heard that before. Okay? Sonia. Tinea vescolor, it's a fungus. Gut, Sonia. Get rid of gut. Don't feed the bears. Don't feed the fungus. Leaky gut, leaky skin, leaky gut, leaky everything. Okay, Tracy. Meniere's. Well, Meniere's, again, I find if you can get insulin down, that helps. Usually, I try a chiropractor to work on the neck for Meniere's too, and the cranial nerves. High DHA I found to be helpful in that. B12 can be helpful in Meniere's. Teresa, I have constantly cleared my throat, night and early mornings. Well, you probably have some form of either postnasal going down the hatch, down the trachea, or you have coming up the other way, up the esophagus. You can have what they call a silent acid reflux. And that can come up. And it's silent because you're not necessarily getting, I don't feel like I got acid reflux, but that it's either coming downwards postnasal, that can be a yeast or a fungus, or you have a silent acid reflux. It could be your stomach. Try digestive enzymes, okay? And lay off the sugar. And check and see that, if you're, sometimes I had people get off milk. I'm not big on milk, by the way. I like cream. I like butter. I like dairy. Okay? I do like those things. Milk in the grocery store. Make sure, Teresa, you don't have any kind of a silent allergy either. Okay, Mary, big veins on the back of my hands. Always been like it. Well, then that's you, Mary. You ain't getting rid of it. It's who you are. Okay? Don't worry about it. Linda, here's another unique. Linda, put your fingerprint up. Put your thumb up. Okay? And you too, Mary. It's who you are. You're unique. God made you different than everybody else on the planet. And if we ever get to 9 billion or 10 billion, doesn't matter. You still will be different than everyone else. Your DNA is different than everybody else's DNA. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. You're unique. Look at uniqueness. Okay? Now, Mary and then Linda, why do I never sweat? Linda? Linda says she never sweats. Well, don't sweat it. Linda, don't sweat that you don't sweat. Don't worry about it. It's your uniqueness. Some people sweat like crazy. I sweat, but I don't, like my son, Tony Jr., he sweats, and I mean, it's visible. And like me, it's not as visible, but boy, do I dehydrate quickly. Like more than anybody I've ever met is me. I just have to be very careful about that. And yet I don't seem to sweat that much. Okay? But Linda, it's who you are. You sleep well and have lots of energy. You're in good shape and good for you. Okay? What food, Dana, what foods to eat to increase progesterone? Well, don't worry about increasing progesterone. Decrease your estrogen. Don't eat soy. Don't eat soy. I'm not big. It's keeping your estrogen down. Watch all those xenoestrogens, okay? All those plastics, all those chemicals. Try and get them down. You're never going to get rid of all of them, okay, unless you leave the planet. On planet Earth, we have forever chemicals, and your body thinks those things are estrogens. So try and be careful with that as much as you can. And yeah, increasing progesterone. Like, I guess if you eat yams, okay, that'll increase your progesterone to some extent. But I'm always more on the negative side. Try and get that estrogen down, okay? And that, dim it out. Linda, that's why I like flax seeds. Flax seeds will help you. It will actually, doesn't necessarily elevate your progesterone, but it does decrease your estrogen. That's a key. Okay, Dana, thanks for the question. Linda, what do I think of shock wave therapy for pain and injuries? Well, it's not my expertise. Hey, if it works, if it helps, I'm not against that. It's just not my expertise. I don't want to comment too much because I never used it. I don't know what the research says too much. And Katina is asking about something, LP, PLA2, lipoproteins again. And Katina, I think I answered your question. You can send it to me, but I'm not looking for that. I'm looking at your triglycerides. I'm looking at your HDL. I want to see your CRP. I look at that stuff, okay? And I know, again, you got two conflicting voices. And I'm in the minority, and I know I am. But I think I'm right. Okay? Clayton, what causes hammer toe? Well, usually a flattening of the metatarsal arch can do it. I'm big on supporting the metatarsal arch and doing exercise. I used to love the tennis ball and rolling your foot, and even for plantar fasciitis and whatever. And get your insulin down. Again, we talk about foot and those tendons and all this and that, Clayton. Get insulin down. Okay. Leonard, Is there any way to assist my body in its ability to absorb B12? Yeah, well, look. You take a probiotic, Leonard, that helps to absorb B12. I would take digestive enzymes to break your food down. Now, remember where B12 is found in food. It's in red meat, nothing else. Okay? So, you're going to get, if you're not eating red meat, you're not getting B12 from your food. You're just not. Anything that you would get from the plant kingdom or whatever, it would be enough for a mouse, not for you. But I find digestive enzymes help, probiotics help, and you got to take B12. I mean, I take B12. You get older, you know, and you want your B12 numbers to be optimized. If you want a healthy brain, you want a healthy nervous system, you need good B12 numbers. So check your B12 numbers, Leonard. And that's really important. You should be somewhere between 800 and 1200 on your B12. Optimize it. If you're below that, you're not absorbing it, then take a B12. And the best B12 is sublingual B12. Okay? Methylcobalamin. Make sure it's methyl. You know, look at ours. It's methyl. And B12, you let it dissolve. Under your tongue best. You can suck it a little bit. Takes time. Okay? Take some time to get B12. Okay? Don't crunch it up and swallow it. Then you're not getting your B12. Okay? This is a substitute for the B12 shot, and actually taking it sublingually every day is better than getting a B12 shot. It is. Okay? It'll raise your B12 levels higher and faster. Okay. Leonard, thanks for the question. Okay, guys, we had fun. At least I did. Okay? We appreciate all those questions. We really do. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.